أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطاهرين. Dear sisters and brothers in Iman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The recurring theme of this video series is about using the coronavirus lockdown to introduce positivity in our lives. However, the prolonged confinement at home also increases the levels of imtihan and ibtila, tests and trials that we go through. Families are spending more time together than ever before. This may have many benefits that we should exploit. However, an unfortunate effect of the close quarters confinement is that domestic violence has sharply risen. Even the UN earlier this month urged governments to combat the surge in domestic violence. Countries around the world have reported an increase in calls to helplines and shelters. Remember that Muslim communities are not immune to domestic abuse. It's a human problem. It is found in all regions, races, and religions. And so during this lockdown, it's more important than ever for Muslim husbands, wives, and parents, if they have any semblance of Islam in their hearts, to control their negative emotions and harmful actions. The blessed month of Ramadan starts in few days. The main lesson behind fasting is to learn how to control our emotions, especially our rage and anger. The emotion of anger, ghadab, is a human instinct, which enables us to defend ourselves when necessary, but it must be kept within the bounds of wisdom and righteousness. When it comes to your wife and children or your husband, remember that they are the closest to you in relationship. And yes, there is a significant statistics of wives who mentally and physically abuse their husbands as well. Almighty Allah described the true followers of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as those who are ruhama'u baynahum, who are merciful towards one another. This is in Surah 48, ayat number 29. During normal life, you are expected to interact with respect and compassion. And nowadays in isolation, you must raise the bar of patience and understanding. This expectation is from both the husband and the wife. Many issues start with the tongue. On a proactive level, think twice about what you say to one another before you say it. Decide if it is productive, meaningful, or compassionate, or if it's hurtful, abusive, or negative. And on a reflective level, think back to previous negative interactions with your spouse or child, and the words you used or the physical actions you took. Ask yourself how the situation could have been handled differently and formulate a plan to approach it better next time. In the short term, while you work on your own behavior regarding negative interactions, look at alternative ways to decompress, diffuse, and avoid situations that you know will lead to a verbal or physical conflict. If local regulations allow it, go for a walk, giving space to one another. Use this time to reflect on an interaction that just took place, or to calmly decide on how to approach a pending conversation. If you do find yourself in a situation where you become angry, then number one, say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge with Allah against the accursed shaitan. Number two, if you are standing up, sit down and take a deep breath. If you are sitting down, then lie down. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salatu wasalam, in one of his sayings, he says, when one of you fears that situation in you of anger, then he should sit down on the earth, because abomination of the shaitan goes away from him at that time. Perhaps putting your forehead on the turba as a symbolic earth will help that effect of pushing the shaitan away. Number four, you should do wudu to calm yourself down. Anger is a fire within you. The water of wudu will help put it out when you are in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once the Prophet asked the people, "Who is the best wrestler among you?" They said, a strong person who cannot be pinned down by anyone. The Prophet ﷺ replied, "The true wrestler is a person whose heart shaitan attacks and makes him angry, but he remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and suppresses his anger with his patience." If any of this video relates to you, I hope you will take the advice to heart and commit to change sooner than later. As I mentioned countless times, dua is vital and important, but it goes hand in hand with proactive efforts done on your part. Practice the above recommendations during the days of social distancing. And when restrictions have been lifted and life is back to normal, keep the positive progress going by working on yourself further and by seeking external help. This is a journey that is rarely successful if attempted alone. There are free social services and helplines available by local governments and Islamic organizations. Remember that the fasting of Ramadan is for one main purpose: to train ourselves to keep our desires and anger within the bounds of wisdom and righteousness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep you all safe under the wings of His mercy and compassion. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.